fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of Tarps Off MMA. We're short Terry Tam today, but Jack Gotzel, Adam Kaplan are here, and what a night we had last night. Bare Knuckle FC, KnuckleMania. Boys, death, taxes, and Bare Knuckle FC rules. Like, those are the three guarantees of life. That fucking event was incredible. I couldn't believe. I love how they start in the center of the like circle or whatever you want to call it, like the squared circle, I guess they call it. Unbelievable event, unbelievable fight. Boys, take us right through it here. Like, Jack, I was on an interview for the first hour of the event. You said the fight of the night almost happened right off the hop.
I believe it did happen right off the hop. I think that was the best fight of the night. Both girls were bloody. They were throwing for 5 full rounds. There was no dull in the action. It was just blow for blow. Starling definitely dominated all 5 rounds. One judge had it 49, 44, I believe, or something like that.
Yep.
But most of the judges got it right, 50-43. It was a domination by Starling. She put on a clinic. I believe she's only 24 years old too, and that was her bare knuckle debut. So I'm excited to see her fight again. And she was having fun going into the cage. She was dancing. She was relaxed.
Yeah.
She was ready to put on a show.
Yeah, buddy. And put on a show they did last night. I mean, the whole card, if you're the owner of the promotion and an advertiser, like, you have to feel just great about how it went last night. So the second fight that ended up happening after that was Dylan Klecker taking on Chris Jensen. Klecker defeated Jensen by KO at 24 seconds of round 1. So Jack,
that was
I was on an interview. Maybe Adam, you take us through that one.
That was a huge fight. I mean, you saw both guys come out. You definitely saw in Jensen's physique and that Viking blue-collar-esque demeanor that he was going to bring the pain. And what I was really impressed with is how he finished the fight with a right hook to the body. Usually we see guys get dropped to the liver, but he probably shattered that floating rib on his opponent. And I really want to see Jensen fight Joey Beltran for the title.
Yeah, that would be an unbelievable matchup. And like you said, it was just an incredible fight. Klecker did a great job there.
That might be the biggest body shot I've ever seen.
Yeah, dude, it was like a couple of them, man. And it's funny, like, you really got to see last night the difference between some of the boxers and the MMA fighters when it came to the dirty boxing, the clinch, we'll get into it as we roll on to the main event, but that was a massive reason why Van Zandt fell up short, in my opinion, when they got into the dirty boxing. Britain she was all over. It was just relentless. And the dirty boxing really matters in this. It was unbelievable all around, but I want to get into the third fight of the evening. It was Haim Ghazali versus John McAllister. Ghazali knocked him out in the second round. Big win for Haim. What did you guys think of that one? I came in after
this is probably my favorite fight to break down, because when it started, Gonzalez was getting dominated, especially in that clinch. In that clinch, he didn't know what to do whenever McAllister was wrapping up. But then Gonzalez got to the first bell, and he went to his corner. And they must have said something to him, because he came out with a completely different game plan in the next round and laid the boom and got the knockout win after getting dominated in the first round. He looked like a different fighter from round 1 to round 2.
Which is really great to see, because I think that a lot of fans and spectators get the impression that this is just, bare knuckle fighting with no game plan and no strategy.
Oh.
So it's really nice to see how the corner was able to adjust. Ghazali is predominantly a jiu-jitsu fighter. So, in the clinch and the dirty boxing, he was probably hesitant to throw punches because typically he would trip his opponent. So I was just really impressed to see that in between round adaptation, the corner coming in and really gassing up Haim to go in there and finish Luke McAllister. That was a really impressive fight. And if you tuned in right at the end of that, you were almost confused who was who. They both had shaved heads. They both were sporting blue and white shorts. So, yeah, man, that was a fucking great fight.
Yeah, another great fight, in my opinion, too, was the Chalbeck versus Greg Bono fight. It was pretty lively, and then, you get into round 3, 20 seconds, Chalbeck knocks him right out. No shortage of of like highlight reel stuff in this promotion, man. The body shots were just vicious. You know, for me being pretty new to the promotion, I've watched it before, but never as in depth and as hard as I was looking at it last night. Oh, it's violent, man. Like when the people get cut, it's not
Yeah.
like when they got the gloves on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a
You can
beautiful
see the
sport, man.
cuts
You can
so
see
much
the
better.
cuts happen, yeah. And it was the beautiful sport, man. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Lorenzo Hunt had
Oh,
a
I just wanted to circle back to Chalbeck.
circle on that.
Dude, Chalbeck, man. Listen, sported a great Philly shell stance. Bono looked as if Bono looked like a smaller version of Spike O'Sullivan, who's an Irish professional boxer.
Yep.
Couldn't engage. You know, Chalbeck kept him at the end of his punches, sported that Philly shell really well. Really saw that, you know, Chalbeck is an undefeated boxer. Saw that gap in between the stand-up, and that's what I love to see. I really think that when Bare Knuckle Fight Championship has guys in there with a strong stand-up background, but sport a solid game plan, that is what's going to grow the promotion and the sport bigger, because people think that this is just a sideshow and that this is just, you know, kind of like a rough and rowdy type of deal. But it's clear as day that they have some prominent technical fighters in there.
Oh,
Yeah, after
absolutely.
we
They
do
made a statement last night with some of those fighters. I mean, Charlbeck looked unbelievable. Britton Hart had a great game plan.
Yeah.
You just saw it through the whole thing. And then, of course, that co-main event. That was just fireworks from both of them, from Dat and from Bedford.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I just want to get through a little bit more of the rest of the round because that fight, Johnny Bedford and Dat Nugan, was fucking awesome. But certainly, you know, we had Lorenzo Hunt take on Rob Morrow. Hunt defeated Morrow by KO at 2 minutes of round 4. It was a pretty competitive fight, I thought, in the sense that they both were trading in that, but I thought that one was going to end up going the distance, but he came out in round 4 and finished the job.
Well, with Hunt's head movement and the way he's able to set up strikes, it's tough to go 5 2-minute rounds with Hunt. It's hard to survive for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, never mind survive like 25 minutes with Hunt. He's brutal.
For sure. Now, I'm not surprised that the fight was finished by a TKO. I think a lot of fans were expecting it to be finished in the first round. But Morrow actually had a really good game plan in terms of slowing down the pace of the fight and keeping good distance control. I was really impressed by that. I thought.
Sorry, not to cut you off, but it just had that 5 by like round 3. It felt like it was going to go the distance. Like exactly. I thought, and then it ended. It was like a snap shock for me. Like,
Morrow just nullified the explosiveness of Hunt at times. And I think that Hunt was getting a little bit frustrated and took his time a little bit more. But, you know, I think that also worked in his favor. It gave him more time to recharge and get back in there with those blitzes. And fuck, man, Lorenzo Hunt put on a highlight reel.
Absolutely, man. It was a beautiful KO in round 4. Then we had Martin Brown take on Zach Zane Bray. Brown took him out by TKO at 128 of round 2. I think we were all doing our predictions, and during that fight, we were all kind of leaning Zane, weren't we?
And then Brown.
I was leaning Zane.
I was too. I don't remember what Adam put, but I remember thinking Zane was going to win, and it didn't go that way.
I didn't pick anybody. I was focused on the live streams at that point, which was, by the way, a fantastic, fantastic time in the live stream. The viewers were beauties. We had great interaction. We're looking forward to always having those interactions with our viewers.
Yeah, man. I gotta say, the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship fans put on maybe the best chat clinic that we've had for our live streams. Like, it was hilarious. I haven't laughed like that in months. Like, my stomach hurt. I was laughing so hard at times.
It was amazing.
It was great. You know, we had a guy calling Jack a clown. We had people coming at you for saying you were smug because you didn't like something. And and then again, somehow, some way, I always end up unscathed in the chat. It doesn't matter what promotion we're on. It seems like I always walk away without getting chirped at all. It's amazing. I don't know what I do right. But certainly
because
the fight
undrafted by Nick Kiprios behind you.
That's right. They know if anybody fucks around, I'll send Kipper out after him. He'll give him a 2-hand right on the fucking wrist. Kipper's line movement company that he works for too. They cover some UFC stuff. So shout out to them too. Great guy. Now, Jack, I'm going to let you handle this one because you had a Chris Lieben semi-boner tucked into your pants coming into this fight. He took on Quentin Henry. He ended up defeating him in the first round by knockout. Henry got punched in the eye, acted like he got poked in the eye. He thought he got poked. Weird moment when they paused that. He was just like screaming to himself, and it was like, buddy, like you just got punched in the eye. Like sometimes the knuckle will catch you. This is bare knuckle. You got a knuckle in the eye. It wasn't a finger. You got punched in the eye. But he like in the moment, and I know afterwards, I think he was cool with it. But in the moment, he thought he got screwed and he got punched in the eye. Because I remember when the ref came over, you could hear him say, like, listen, if you guys call it, that was a punch. It's a TKO. And then all of a sudden he got back into it. But he was really having a hard time eating that punch to the eye.
Yeah, I mean, you could read it on Laban's face. He did not want the fight to end that way. It was his farewell fight, his final fight. He's such a pioneer to the sport. And honestly, I do use that term, even though he's not the most skilled guy, but he brought so many eyes to the sport with his outside of the octagon behavior on The Ultimate Fighter. He's an absolute character. He started as a villain, but he went through rehabilitation and, cleaned himself up, and he became a role model and a hero inside the cage and the octagon and everywhere he's ever been. And he's just a guy you root for. So you wanted to see his farewell fight go and end in a great manner. And I'm glad that Henry was able to get back up and Levin was able to finish the fight and go out the champion that he always has been.
Yeah, loved it.
I loved it also. It really looked as if his career went full circle. It kind of seems as if how his career ended in Bare Knuckle Fight Championship, you could also imagine that's how his career started before he was even in the Ultimate Fighter, before he was even in the UFC. Chris Lieben's a trendsetter, man. He started the hair dye. He was there with the nail polish and the tattoos. He started a real culture at MMA that we actually don't see anymore. The sport has strayed away from that. It's a little bit...
Mayhem Miller and stuff like that are kind of
Exactly.
gone now, right? That whole brand. I was gonna say
that's
he's like the face of that. I don't know if it's like an attitude
he's the
or
last of
whatever.
a dying breed.
Yeah, man, exactly. I mean,
Chris Lieben.
an eccentric guy, and Chris Lieben, he had so many great fights in the octagon, every promotion he went to. Like Jack said, a guy who had his struggles, but certainly got himself rehabilitated and did it in a public square. And you can tell he's like, he makes a difference in people's lives, man. He's one of those guys you can look up to if you're someone who's gone through those things. And just to see Lieben get the proper send off, I think, nothing worse I hate than watching like Chuck Liddell fight a last fight and end up getting murdered a bunch of times. Like it was nice to see a good guy like him go out of victorious and with a good performance and a first round knockout. He deserved it, man. I hate seeing great fighters.
Of the night too. If I had gloves, I'd lay him down in the ring, but we don't put those on anymore.
Love it.
If Bare Knuckle can't use that clip to advertise that.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's like the number. Like, oh, bro, it is so good. But guys, there was a championship fight last night. Johnny Bedford took on Dat Nugent. I'm sorry. I think that's how you say it. I'm not.
Nguyen. The G is silent.
The G is silent. Okay. The G is silent. Nguyen. And he defeated Bedford by unanimous decision, 48-47. Two judges scored it, 49-46 the other judge. It was a unanimous decision and a new champion in Dat. Adam, that fight was, again, another one of those products where, holy, what a great night it was for the sport. If you were a new person to the promotion, kind of like myself, like I said, I've watched before, but I really haven't like studied it like I did going into it, and then actually sat and fully tried to break everything down. Just like talk about one of those fights that you can really build momentum on, and definitely would have been one of those fights that brings people to the sport. What action.
Well, you could use all 5 rounds as a highlight reel. Both guys brought action-packed violence. They were fighting at the end of their punches. They were comfortable inside as well, throwing those body shots and executing the dirty boxing. I think that Nguyen and Bedford brought a lot of more eyes to the sport, probably the most eyes to the sport than any other fight on this card. This was unanimously, my fight of the night.
Oh, for sure.
Both of these guys just threw so many punches that had devastating intentions on it. And that's what I loved about the fight. But more importantly, what I liked was everything that was going on outside of the punches, the head movement, the footwork, finding that perfect range. These guys were putting on a technical masterclass there. And I think that a lot of viewers are not able to see that because they can't get over the fact that these guys are fighting without any fucking gloves on. Now, if you take that aside and just imagine those two fighters with gloves on, that was one of the best technical fights that BKFC has ever put on.
Yep. It was like you said, it was like an instruction manual for fucking just classic good technical boxing. In my opinion, I thought that was the fight of the night. That was a fight this promotion can be like, watch this, watch that fight and don't become a fan of that sport. If you watch that fight and don't become a fan of that sport, you don't like fighting. Adam?
And just to add to that, that was an MMA fighter in Johnny Bedford who's fought in the UFC and's been on the Ultimate Fighter versus Dat Nguyen, who I believe has a boxing career. So that was a good MMA versus boxing fight.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And again, I think at the end of the day, Nguyen ended up doing a little better in the clinch, and he was able to, I found he had a tough time at first. He was able to kind of get inside, and once he got inside and really could work the body and land some significant strikes, he certainly changed the tide. I think it was at about round 3 you could feel the tide change in that fight, because at first I think I had it 2-1 Bedford going into the the 4th round or whatever. So the tide really did change.
Yeah, those championship rounds were certainly prominent.
And it was those body shots that really started to pave the way. That was definitely the most technical fight. This card kind of had everything, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it had the brawls.
You had that really technical fight. And then the first fight of the night, you had that absolute just toe-to-toe, who's going to be the last girl standing brawl. So, I mean, it brought everything. Bare Knuckle Fight Club absolutely did not miss the mark on any of these fights.
No, it's like they matched up the perfect card to detail each aspect of the game that a fan or people trying to break it down professionally like us want to see. Like, it kind of gave you everything the fight promotion had to offer. And I would have to think that's by design. And if that was by design and not just good luck, this promotion is going to do very well, because, like, for me personally, I don't even care if we're lined up against another UFC event now at the same time or whatever, if that so happens to happen. I got to have both of these promotions on. Like, I got to have my monitors working, right? Where before I would have been like, okay, boys, we got to cover UFC over this. Not after last night's KnuckleMania, man. I'm not missing it. I can't miss it anymore. And I want to bring us into the main event of the evening. Britain Hart took on PVZ, Paige Van Zant. Paige Van Zant signed a multi-fight deal with Bare Knuckle FC. Hart defeated Van Zant by unanimous decision, 49-46 across the board. I think that was a fair score. I think, again, when it came time to that dirty boxing and tenaciousness, I think she lacked the tenacity that Britain had. Paige Van Zant kind of, I don't want to say she looked uncomfortable at times, but it looked like a promoter or a boxer in the fighter in the first time in the promotion. I think at times when, like, the clinch would happen, Britain Hart would just get way more aggressive and was way more hungry to try to feed shots to the body and was trying to use her weight to put her up against the cage. And I think Van Zant at times lacked the tenacity. I think I found that she just wasn't, like, she tried to be more like an MMA fighter where she was kind of sitting back and being calm. But when you got the 2-minute rounds, it's like you don't kind of have that time to feel it out. You kind of have to get in there and make shit happen. And I think she struggled at that.
This might be a hot take, but I do think Paige Van Zant had the advantage when they were standing up and they were separated. I think the entire difference was inside the clinch, and Britain Hart did dominate it and did win the fight. I had scored the fight for Hart, but I thought when they were separated and they were grabbing each other's distance, I thought Paige Van Zant was winning that fight.
Absolutely. She just didn't have the, that 5th round she came out and won, but it was already too late. If she would have come out with that tenacity and that hunger from the start, I think Paige Van Zant could dust that girl. And I think if they run that fight back with her experience, I like Paige to get it done again. If they run that fight again, I think that she kind of had it figured out. It was just like she was somewhere new for the first couple rounds. Yeah. And by round 5, where it really looked like she figured it out, it was too late. Now, if that was an 8-round fight or something, I think Van Zant might have been able to finish it, Jack, because you're right. When it came time to being separated and closing distance and just having that boxing, Paige Van Zandt was the better fighter, but as soon as it got in the clinch, the aggressiveness of Britain Hart took over. She wanted it more in the clinch. She was more aggressive and, gave one of the best post fight interviews ever. It almost got trashed by, almost got ruined by, what's her name? Savage, came in and Hart ended up throwing a bottle of water on her and told her
Britain Hart is not a fighter. She's a feeling.
She's a feeling. Yeah, that was it. I'm not a fighter. I'm a feeling, and you're gonna feel me or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
You're
cool.
all gonna feel me.
That was quite the promo. I thought that was a lot more cringe than the Michael Chandler one that we saw a few weeks ago. But I do like your guys' take on Paige Van Zandt being more successful fighting hard at range. That dirty boxing clinch is an art in itself. It kind of reminded me of when Joe Schilling went from glory kickboxing to lion fights and had to fight traditional rules Muay Thai. It's really a whole other ball game when you put a stand-up fighter in a sport that is prominent in the clinch. So bare knuckle fighting, man, the dirty boxing clinch is almost as prominent as clinching in Muay Thai, for those knees and the elbows. So like I said, man, people came for the violence, but they stayed for the technical master classes this entire evening. That's the way I feel about this. I truly, truly do.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's no question. Every fighter on this card woke up yesterday morning and chose violence, but certainly there was a bunch of fighters that chose technical performance and skill and a great game plan. And like I said earlier, and I'm going to say it again, what a job by Bare Knuckle FC putting together fights that showed every single technical aspect the entire promotion had to offer when they knew the most eyes would be on the promotion ever with Paige Van Zandt. I thought it was a masterclass in marketing. I think it was a masterclass in leadership. I don't even remember the president of the promotion's name now off the top of my head. I think it's like John something.
David Feldman, I believe.
That's it, David Feldman. Great job. What a job by him. But made sure that they had every single fight on there that could, show the entire promotion's technicality. Now, I want to get into another promotion, guys, that went down last night. Rough and Rowdy, Jose Canseco versus Billy Football. Canseco loses in 7 seconds. Says he threw out his shoulder. Now, what's worse is you hear he got paid 50 grand to show up, and he would have got another 50 grand if he won. So you're like, wow, Canseco stole 50 grand. No, he stole much more than that. Now, there was a clause in the contract that if they broke the Rough and Rowdy pay-per-view buy record, he got a certain percentage of the share. They shattered it. They shattered the record. Jose Canseco walked away last night with over $1 million.
That was a robbery.
Over $1 million, and he dropped the fight. He went in there with a shoulder injury and he just took their money and left, and there's nothing they can do about it. Once a rat, always a rat. And Barstool got cucked by Canseco. They should know that he has a history of not showing up for shit. He has a history of being a fucking rat puke, and you should never ever reward that guy. And the fact that that guy got $1 million last night, well, certainly there was people that just fought bare knuckle that didn't make that, fucking makes me sick. And he's a rat, and I wish nothing but the worst for that fucking rat.
Well, it's definitely a shame, but at the same time, it did drive the viewership. It did bring eyes on the screen, and that is exactly why they did it. There still were 19 other fights, that did entertain some people. I would say over 3/4 of them were still trash.
The ring girls are always fun at those.
Yeah, the ring girls are fun. Listen, I mean, look, if you're watching it as a fight fan, you got to understand that it's like pouring yourself 3 shots of vodka and then pouring about 10 liters of water in it. It's completely watered down in terms of a competitive fighting promotion. So, Canseco did his job in terms of driving the revenue streams up and bringing asses into the seats. But I got to say, Barstool Sports is going to have to, shape their promotion a little bit better instead of investing in somebody like Jose Canseco.
Yeah, you just they got cucked to me. He just basically robbed you. And then that guy to claim that he knocked him out, he didn't even land a strike. It was pathetic. That was the worst dive I've ever seen.
Nobody lands a strike in that stupid promotion. What is it? 4% punches land. I want to see the percentages of punches that land because it's goddamn awful. It's just guys swinging wildly. I don't see the entertainment in it. I'm sorry.
Well,
I don't get it.
when the knockouts happen, they're huge. But like LaGreco said to us on the last episode, you can call people out and fight and do boxing, but like, dude, did you see a couple of the knockouts though last night? Like, those are gonna change those guys, dude. Like, some people think it's all fun and games until you get your fucking head knocked off, and we saw that happen. But back to Canseco, such a rat. I can't believe Barstool even did that. I remember last night during our live stream, the second that happened, I'm like, shit, they could be in trouble. They got a sports book right away. They canceled all the bets for Canseco, refunded people. The people that bet Billy football ended up still getting their win. They did the right thing there because right away I was like, oh no. So think about it. Yeah, he made that much money, but think about how much he cost them on the betting end of things.
He did cost them, but he also helped them because they're now going to put morality clauses in their contracts, etc. So, we'll cover them on the back end a little bit more. So to an extent, he almost did do them a favor. I think there was a small part of them that also expected this to happen. But, I do see what Jack's saying. I could see why there's nothing special about the promotion and that it's, really a little bit of poor taste. I could definitely see that. And I think that it does bring perhaps the wrong fans or the wrong viewers to the sport. But, I don't think that people put Rough and Rowdy and even like the YouTube boxing in the same category. I think Rough and Rowdy is in its own rated R section. You see it behind the doors at your local Blockbuster in the porno section.
Yeah. When you go to the corner store as a kid, there'd be like a curtain and there'd be like adult videos. You couldn't go rent them. You'd have to walk through the dirty old porn curtain.
Maybe I'm being tough here, but as successful as Bare Knuckle was last night, I thought Barstool was equally a disaster.
Like,
like paying for that, you can't be happy. Like you can't be happy you paid for that pay-per-view.
I mean, 19 fights. I mean, listen, that's Barstool, right? I think their fan base knows what they're signing up for. I think that they'll buy whatever those guys tell them to buy anyway. So,
Yeah.
but I do get it, Jack. I pretty much support most things Barstool does, but it's shitty.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I wouldn't want to sit and watch a card for a whole night.
I'm just not cool with it because there was a fight where it was pretty clear that one of the female fighters had no business being in there. She was turning her back on her opponent the entire time, still taking strikes to the face, etc. The reason why I don't support it is that it's very evident that over 99% of their fighters don't know what the fuck they're doing. And that could, be a tremendous loss, have a tremendous lawsuit on their hands if, God forbid, anything happens in there. So that's why I do see how it could definitely be a shit show for Rough and Rowdy. Somebody's going to get hurt in there and somebody's lives are going to change. There was a guy in there who claims that he was on the PGA tour. He had no fucking business being in there. He was getting smacked around all kinds. And, like we had Phil LaGreco on the show, former WBO welterweight boxing champ, these punches will change your life. And I don't think that people understand that. And another thing also is that folks are paying $20 for 20 fights. And I actually think that 90% of the time they're laughing at what they're watching. They're not even necessarily entertained because of the violence. They almost look at it as comical entertainment. And I don't really think that fighting and comedy should ever go together.
No, it's dangerous.
Yeah,
it's a dangerous combination. But yeah, they're not watching because they're like us that want to see good technical fights and watch some good boxing. They're watching to watch these hillbilly morons punch each other in the face, right? And then like one scumbag like Canseco, they get a big name on it. I get what you're saying. I think
it's just not my cup of tea. It's just
not my cup of tea. Yeah, it's certainly not in the same even realm as these other promotions we're talking about, though. Like you said, it's its own blockbuster backroom porno shop special promotion, which is like, hey, look at they made enough money last night that Jose Canseco took home $1 million. So certainly they're doing something right. But like you said, they're bringing people into the fighting world that maybe don't have any business there. But I think it's a comedy show at the end of the day. And I think, you know what? Horny Twitter and horny boxing. We learned that last night during the Van Zandt fight. Our chat was just filled with the horniest people alive. I think half the people buy it to watch the ring girls do their twerking and thongs and make out with each other and drink booze. It's like almost like a Girls Gone Wild mixed with a shitty local boxing promotion is what it reminds me of.
Yeah, we had people in our chat that were pissed that Britton Hart and Paige Van Zandt didn't kiss. So
yeah, like I was like, guys, these are fighters. Like, have a little slow down, horny men. Like,
but
15-minute penalty, 15-minute personal foul, 15 yards for too much horny.
But let's talk about that real quick in the sense of how bumping the Tarps Off MMA live stream was. I mean, you know, that interactiveness was bar none. Like you said before, Chris, I've never laughed so hard in my life. We had Jack nearly in tears down there, but we were cracking a few jokes. We were chirping the viewers. The viewers were chirping us. We were loving it.
The viewers were chirping each other.
Yeah, the viewers were starting to turn on each other.
Exactly.
You know, we love that, man. The more interactive you guys can be, the better. Make sure every fight night, whether it's UFC or like a UFC pay-per-view, the bare knuckle boxing.
We got one tonight.
We got one tonight, UFC Live tonight, Overeem Volkov. We're going to be there. Jump in the stream, come have fun, and you can actually change the trajectory of the programming you're watching and be involved in it. You know, we just brought up Rough and Rowdy. Try to talk to anybody that works at that promotion at Barstool on a live stream. They wouldn't answer you. We're the kind of guys that want to talk to everybody, man. That's the biggest difference between us and our competition is you're not going to find an ounce of smugness with us. If you chirp us, we're going to chirp you back. If you got something interesting to say, we're going to talk about it. If you have a question, we're going to answer it. If you're alt-right Alex, you know, we're going to call you out when you say alt-right things in the chat. It's a great time. It's a great time. Tarps Off MMA live stream tonight goes down. UFC fight night, Overeem, Volkov, Bare Knuckle FC streams to come though, boys. Last night was an incredible event. Fuck Jose Canseco. Anything else we want to say before we go here?
Look, man, give us your contact info. We want the viewers in the live stream. We want to see the beer you're drinking, the chicken wings you're having, and we want to hear the fight knowledge that you have to say, baby. Jump in the live streams. Let's go.
That's it, boys.
Bang.
Tarps Off MMA. Thanks for coming by.